Thanks, Jim. This is Justin Stone with EliteBaseball.tv coming to you with the tip of the week. And one of the most valuable lessons I learned as a very young athlete is how to watch the game without watching the ball. And I've mentioned this on the podcast before. My mother was a very strong influence on me as a baseball player, as the person that taught me the game growing up. And my summer vacation was getting to watch one Cardinals game a year. This is before games were on TV every game. Basically, we had one game of the week that was on Saturday or Sunday on NBC. That was really the only baseball you got to watch on TV. But of course, on TV, the camera follows the ball. So when you go watch a game in person, I learned as a young athlete, I just focused in on Ozzie Smith, the guy that was playing at my position, and watched how he moved between the pitches and watched how he moved when the ball wasn't hit to him. And you learn a lot about your position and a lot about the game when you learn to watch it without following the ball. This was taken a long step further when I got into more competitive baseball, specifically into Division I baseball in college, about learning how to observe the game and learn beneficial things that can help your team and help you as a player by watching the opposition while you're in the dugout. And there's several tips that you can do watching the game, paying attention to the game. You'll be surprised how much you can learn that'll benefit you as a hitter, a base runner, and you'll see how often the defense is actually tipping things going on the field. So this is a little more of advanced technique, but the point of the whole situation here is talk the game when you're in downtime. Talk the game when you're in the dugout, whether that's parent to player, if you have a parent coach, definitely coach to player, but most importantly, player to player. There's a lot of downtime in baseball, and it seems the younger the players are, the more that they talk about things just completely outside of the game itself. When you start to watch the game, and then more importantly, you start to talk the game, you'll be surprised how much that benefits your team. So I'm going to give you some ways you can do that here today. Number one, as a good base stealer, as a good base runner, I always moved myself down as close as I could to the far side of the dugout where I was getting a perspective from the pitcher's view like I was on first base. So if we were in the first base dugout, I would go all the way down the right field line side of the dugout as far as I can. So when I wasn't at bat, maybe I wasn't going to bat that inning, I would still try to read the pitcher to learn his movements. Pitchers all fall into tendencies. They get in habits. And you'll find that almost all pitchers fall into some sort of camp in terms of what they're giving away when they do their picks. They always say that lefties are the hardest to steal off of, and I disagree. I think they're the easiest to steal off of because their time to home tends to be greater than righties, and they will give away their pick in some way. You just need to watch and figure it out. So I always felt like if I was down on that side of the dugout before I even got to base, or maybe I didn't reach base my first at bat and I did my second at bat, I already had a feel of that pitcher's move before I stepped on the base. You'll be able to do the same thing. Next, pitchers tipping pitches. Again, this happens as they get older, but even at the 10, 11, and 12-year-old age, we do have players throwing off-speed pitches. The younger the player, the more likely that they're going to be doing something in their glove that's going to give away their off-speed pitch. Watch it. You're going to learn from the pitcher. You can talk about it amongst yourselves in the dugout and then use it in the batter's box. I, as a coach, like to scout my own players. So I really hone in on my own pitcher when I'm a coach, seeing if they are doing something different, digging in the glove, turning their wrist. Some very subtle movements will take place when you're switching from one pitch to another, and oftentimes they're giving it away. So I like to coach or scout my own players too to make sure we're not giving that away to the opposition. Next, catchers setting up early or middle infielders giving up the pitch location or the type of pitch in their creep step. You'll find that a lot of catchers will give away the pitches that they're calling without you even seeing the signals maybe as a base coach. How they do this is this. Oftentimes on a breaking ball, you will see a catcher prepare himself to block by raising his butt when there's nobody on base. Oftentimes they will step forward a little bit towards home plate as well, raise their butt up into a position almost like runners were on base in a time where no runners are on base. That can signal a breaking ball. Catchers setting up early. Oftentimes, if you get catchers that are setting up early, very rarely do you get off-speed pitches thrown in. If you see a catcher setting up early and he's going to the inside portion of the plate, that's probably going to be a fastball. But even when he sets up early and moves away, yeah, there's a likelihood that could be an off-speed pitch, but it just gets your mentality of seeing the ball deeper as a hitter, whether it's a fastball or an off-speed pitch. It's kind of the same mentality, knowing I'm going to see that ball deeper. That's a very easy relay that you can do from on-deck circle into home plate that you can use very simply as a name or a number. That's done pretty often. We would say sometimes come on and then something after that, or for an inside pitch, or hey, and then something after that for an away pitch. Hey, away. So there's different ways you can code that, but very, very simply, let the batter know if the catcher's setting up early, where he's setting up. Finally, middle infielders. A good middle infielder is going to try to anticipate where the ball is going to be hit, and they always should be looking in for the signal to let them know where the baseball is going to be going. When they first learn to do this, I see this with high school athletes a lot. They set up too early in their creep step. They're cheating one direction or another, basically telling the player at home plate what pitch is coming, or at least the location. So we can use these little tidbits of knowledge to help us as an offensive player knowing pitch location or what type of pitch is coming. The point of all of these, and I've given you 4 examples right here, is you can learn so much about the game by watching it. And you can learn even more by talking it. Some of the best conversations I had at my highest levels of baseball, or even as an instructor and talking to very high-end athletes, or just observing the way pro players go about their business. They are talking the game. When you see the cameras flash into the dugout, and you see big league players on the rail of the dugout, and you see them conversing, they're talking about the game. And you can find that you'll find so much that will make you better as a player, thus better as a team, if you just observe what's going on around you. I'm Justin Stone. This has been EliteBaseball.tv's Tip of the Week. And until next week, we'll see you on the field.